Welcome into a special edition of Locked On Astros Monday Night Live. You're listening to Tuesday. We got our man RoFlo, Houston's own Robert Flores from MLB Network, to give us all his thoughts on the Houston Astros. And does he think they can repeat in 2023? Let's go.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we're your daily Astros podcast. I am Htown Wheelhouse. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find the show at Locked On Astros on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well. And you can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros. And with me is a fan favorite, one of our favorites, Mr. Robert Flores. Robert, thank you for joining us. Tell everybody where they can find you and where they can see you on a daily basis.
MLB Central comes on Houston time, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday on MLB Network. You can find me on Instagram at RoFlo and at RoFlo on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they're calling it these days. And finding me on Twitch, twitch.tv/RealRoFlo as well.
Yeah, that's right. You are an MLB The Show gamer.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share me some of your secrets, because I will try to do one of these, start your own career in the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just get I don't even want to go through the grind on a video game. I don't know how these minor leaguers do it in real life. And let me tell you, you got to be pretty involved. But has that been a fun thing for you, just to get involved with that and maybe the gaming community?
Yeah, I enjoy. In fact, I see Jason right there in the comments. He checks out my streams quite frequently on Twitch and on Facebook. So I enjoy it. Plus, myself and a handful of other of my colleagues are actually in MLB The Show and have been for the past 2 or 3 years. So I think it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I like playing the game. Probably take it a little too seriously, especially for someone of my age, but. I enjoy it. I think it's a different way to connect with fans and chat with fans about baseball.
Yeah, definitely. I remember, because that reminds me, when we were in college, I was at Howard Payne University in Central Texas. And when Derek Lee first got called up to the majors, the first time he was in a baseball game, we were playing Sega Genesis. And my friend, he came running to our apartment with this brand new game that he unwrapped, and he's like, my boy Derek Lee. He grew up with Derek Lee in California, in Sacramento. They played select ball together, and it was so cool that your friend was a friend of someone on the game.
Mm-hmm.
You say you guys are on the game. I know John, who's the Rockets PA announcer, is a friend of mine. He's on the NBA
2K.
Yeah, NBA 2K. He's the Rockets voice on there. He does some stuff. So that's definitely really, really cool. And it is a great way to connect with the fans. But let's just get right into it. This AOS battle.
Yeah.
Early on in the season, we saw the Rangers were going to be a formidable opponent.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit, and I think a lot of Astros fans and a lot of Astros nations were there where I was, where we thought, okay, Rangers are going to get hot, then they're going to cool off. Water's going to find its level. The Astros will be there by June, and then it got July. Well, by July, then August. Well, maybe late August. And they haven't changed their position. This AOS battle, it's a real battle.
Oh, yes, for sure. I kind of resigned myself to the fact at the beginning of the season that the Astros were going to start slowly. They've played a lot of postseason games since 2017, a lot. And plus, with the extra round now that they have in Major League Baseball of postseason play, it takes a toll on you physically. It takes a toll on you mentally. Throw in with the fact that the injuries throughout the roster, especially in the starting rotation. So I was kind of resigned to the fact that they would start slowly. I knew the Rangers would be good. Bruce Bochy wasn't going to come out of retirement and not have his team winning. He wasn't coming out. He didn't need the money. He wasn't doing it for his health. He came out to win. So I knew that the Rangers were going to be significantly better. They have been better than the Astros, not necessarily head to head, but they are a better offensive team than the Astros top to bottom. And that's been the case throughout the season. Can the Astros catch them? I don't know. I know that they have a big series with the Rangers coming up. I believe that's over Labor Day weekend, and that could ultimately decide it. I see right now that the Astros are losing to the Marlins, and you look at what they've done the last two series. They took 2 of 3 from the Angels, took 2 of 3 from the Orioles, really had a good week, but didn't really gain much ground because the Rangers don't lose or haven't been losing.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that and the importance of this race. And you and I were talking pre-show about this a little bit, and this is a hot topic. And I'm not going to ask you to dog anybody out or agree or disagree, but the whole Martin Maldonado thing, and Yainer Diaz. Tonight, I made the comment to you, gosh, I really wish Diaz was in this lineup tonight. Yeah, and that has been a topic. There is a lot of concentration put on the fact that people believe that because of the way the lineup's constructed in rest days, that Dusty is somehow sabotaging the division and not really pushing forward because they're like, the Rangers are playing every day. And I'm like, but you realize this team has played more playoff games in the last 6 years than any team combined. Yeah. What do you make of it? You're there with the experts. You talk to MLB players, you talk to insiders, you talk to former big leaguers, and the lineup construction, are we 5 or 6 wins where we should be up right now if we had Diaz playing more? Is it not?
Here's what I'll say about, Martin Maldonado is like, is an easy target for Astro fans. And he's not a good offensive player. His best days are probably behind him. That's fair. He's never really been an exceptional offensive player. But is Martin Maldonado the reason the Astros lost? Say, for instance, yesterday? No. They were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. This offense consistently, look, a few days ago, they scored back-to-back runs of 11, or back-to-back games of 11 runs. What are they doing tonight? 2-0 in the 6th inning. How many hits do they have? 4. How many? What's their 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position? Is that Martin Maldonado's fault? No, is it?
It's not. No, it's not.
It's not. And for people to think that Dusty Baker has forgotten more about baseball than you and I and everyone else that I'm looking on these comments section will ever know. So they have more information than us. They have more information than you. They have more information than me. They have more information than Romeo Loves Dan, more information than Jason Elliott, Lane Frost, Albert, Arhenis, Garrett, Arlie, Regina. They have more info. These guys know what they're doing. Yeah. Now, here's the other thing you have to consider. Do pitchers like pitching to Martin Maldonado better than Yainer Diaz? I don't know. But if they do, that matters. It certainly matters to Justin Verlander. He's not coming over here to pitch to some guy that he's not feeling confident in. So, I think there are a lot of things that people don't really consider, or they think that it's, that Dusty has just lost his mind, or the Astros front office has lost his mind. So, Martin Maldonado it's basically like having a pitcher spot when he's in the lineup. But again, I'm looking at their lineup right now. You've got Altuve, he's got 2 hits. Tucker's 0 for 3. Bregman's 0 for 2. Alvarez, and again, they've left 6 runners on base so far tonight, and they're only through 6 innings. They're 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Let's take a look at what they did yesterday with runners in scoring position when they lost 2-1. Martin Maldonado started the game. The Astros, they were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and they left 9 men on base. Martin Maldonado was batting ninth. So, if you want to talk about what the bigger problems are with this team and what's going to prevent, I know I'm looking at your rundown here. Can the Astros repeat? The Astros cannot repeat if they're going to hit like this. Yeah. And they're not going to repeat if their bullpen is they need more consistency from their bullpen. And they need a better Christian Javier. They need a better Framber Valdez. And they probably need another arm in that rotation to step up. So again, if people want to, harp on Martin Maldonado, that's fine. I understand it. He's only hitting 133, which is remarkable for a major leaguer that plays a lot. But that, for me, is not the biggest problem.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad you articulated it like that. A lot of times we try to, I guess, say some of the same things, and we get told, oh, you're just in love with Maldonado. Yeah. You just, I actually had one guy DM me and asked me if I was paid by the team. And I asked him why he said that. And he said, well, because you never come out against them. And I'm like, well, and I don't have to explain myself to anybody, but when I've interviewed as many people and players in the organization as I have, and I've gained a certain level of respect for them, I'm very careful with how critical I am, because I know for a fact I couldn't do any better. And I think this offense has been its own Achilles heel. It has not. Yeah,
it's under. I think enough. It's save for, Tucker's obviously having an MVP season. If Shohei Ohtani wasn't in the American League, Kyle Tucker might win the American League MVP.
I agree.
But Jose Altuve, how many games has Jose Altuve played?
He's like what?
He's played.
He's like under 60, isn't it?
Yeah, and for the longest time, Altuve and Alvarez were in the lineup together for 13 times.
Yeah,
together.
Yeah,
so
that was it.
Look, that's it. Injuries, slumps. It's think that they can get hot. I mean, like really hot. And let's kind of preface that by saying they've played excellent coming out of the All-Star break. The problem is the Rangers have also been playing really good, so it's been difficult for them to make up ground. But I'm looking at this game tonight. You got your ace. Framber Valdez is your ace. And what's he done so far? 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 2 runs. It's not horrible. He's been really good. But the offense, that has to be win day for you. It has to be win day, and the offense thus far hasn't showed up.
I agree with you. And these are all great words, and we're going to talk a little bit about that mojo and your biggest surprise after we talk to the people about our sponsor, Ibotta, today. If you want to get paid for shopping and you would like to know how to do that, trust me, you want to go to Ibotta. Why? Because they give you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure that you are beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either you can link your loyalty account, or you can upload your receipt after you go shopping to get the cash back. It's easy. The average Ibotta user earns about $120 per year. That could cover a shopping trip. That could cover a tank of gas, a couple tanks of gas. You get cash back basically when you buy that flight you've been eyeing. They're all kinds of options that you have. Other apps will give you points. They don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you can get real cash back that you can cash out in your bank account, in your PayPal, or as gift cards. You can get gift cards including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering its listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta, for using the code MLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play, download the free Ibotta app, and use the code MLB. Go to Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play Store or App Store, and use the code MLB. And make sure that you listen to the Astros play the Marlins Tuesday, 5:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros. So, RoFlo, let's get back into this, because I think there are some poignant things that we need to talk about, because when I put in there, do the Astros still have the mojo? I told people, I started the season out saying 2022 was a special year. You're going to not see many teams do what the Astros did because their starting pitching, their relief pitching, their hitting was firing on all cylinders. Not only that, they didn't deal with the injuries that other teams were dealing with. And in the end, that came to a perfect formula where they literally were very close to not even losing the 2 games that they lost in the playoffs and almost went on a perfect run in the postseason.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do when you get to the postseason because everybody's giving you their best, especially to do what they did against Seattle, coming off of the big win they had over the Blue Jays, and they were pumped and they were on fire. But that mojo, I think we already kind of talked about it. If they get into the postseason, if they get there, does that experience help them? Or is the field just that much stronger this year where maybe that postseason experience isn't as valuable in 2023?
Well, I think it's both. Experience does matter. I think experience and the fact that you have a lot of guys that have been there and played in the biggest of games, I think that does matter. I see the question is, do the Astros still have the mojo? And I would say the mojo is pitching. That's where the game starts. That's where every baseball game starts. And the Astros had unbelievable starting pitching, and that allowed them to not use their bullpen as much during the regular season because the starting rotation, they had so many starters. They would often use a 6-man rotation. So what did that do? That obviously allowed your starters like Justin Verlander to get an extra day. That obviously allowed your starters to be better. They were healthy. They did not have the injury problems in their rotation like they did this year. And that allowed the bullpen to remain fresh. That has not been the case this year. Their starting rotation isn't nearly as good as it was last year. That doesn't mean that can't change. I think you have to be encouraged by what you saw from Jose Urquidy yesterday, excuse me. JP France has been a revelation. Christian Javier is the problem, I don't want to say the problem, he's the X factor. He has not been the same. He has not been the same. And in the bullpen, I would say Rafael Montero is the other X factor. Getting Kendall Graveman is big because you feel pretty good with Graveman, Abreu, and of course Presley. Those are 3, right? I would throw Stanek into that mix. So I just think that like I said, there's a reason. There's a reason we have not seen a repeat winner since 2000 with the New York Yankees. It is incredibly difficult to do. And remember, when those Yankees were repeating, I'm trying to think, did they have the wild card round like in 98, 99? I don't remember. I don't remember
the wild card.
Maybe someone can
someone look that up while we're on here.
Oh yeah, Chico reminded me, Chico 410 saying that Neris is also you feel pretty good with Neris as a trusted a trusted arm, but that there in the bullpen. Call me crazy, and I have not seen any reports on where he stands. Thank you, Jason. Wild card was indeed introduced in 1993. So I'm call me crazy, but I'm still holding out hope for Forrest Whitley. I mean, it'd be great if he could come in and maybe they catch lightning in a bottle. You put him in the bullpen, and he's like that fireman out there in the back end that can get some swing and miss during some big spots. But I don't know.
I think, I want to ask you about your biggest surprise of this season, but I want to kind of dovetail off what you just said. For me, if a September call-up were to happen, I see easily someone like a Sean Dubin or even Spencer Arrighetti maybe getting that call. I don't know if you heard, but today they called up Joey Loperfido, left-handed bat, led Duke to their only ACC title, actually had him on the show when he was with the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. This kid's impressive. He's big.
They called him up to AA, right?
No, well, AA to AAA.
Oh, to AAA. Okay.
So I thought, because I had been talking to a friend of mine who follows the minors a lot closer than I do, we thought that they would leave him in Corpus because Corpus is chasing a title in AA. And he said typically they like to have those guys get that experience together as a team and win that championship. But apparently his call-up was inevitable. And that's a guy that could be a late season call up. If, they just feel like Singleton really isn't getting it done. The only problem with Singleton is if you don't keep him, you can't send him down. He doesn't have any options
Yes.
left. Now, they could always, put him out there and then no one claims him. And then he would be like reassigned to AAA, I think, or something like that.
Right.
But Joey Loperfido is someone that might surprise everybody. But I expect to see Dubin or Arrighetti.
Yeah.
I talked to Dubin
I know
about his
that they
experience.
did.
Yeah.
I think Dusty, or it might have been Dana Brown, saying Michael Brantley is going to be maybe headed out on a rehab assignment in the next week or so. But I think it's incredibly unfair to really expect or count on anything. This is a guy that basically hasn't played, for over a year. He first went out in June, I believe, of 2022, and hasn't played in a big league game since. So who knows what you get from Michael Brantley, but I think it's incredibly unfair to kind of hang your hat on that.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear you. I will believe it when I see it. Dusty Baker said, well, his dad's in town to see him, so that means he's close. And I'm like, I don't know if that really means anything. But, sometimes decoding Dusty's sound bites is actually kind of fun. We have a little Thoughts by Dusty segment we do from time to time because he's got some genius quotes. Now, your big surprise of 2023 is JP France.
Yeah. Yeah, JP France. It has. I mean, there was, I would say, maybe a 2 or 3 week stretch where he was their most consistent starter. And if you had told me that before the season, I would have said you're crazy. So I like what he gives you. I think having Justin Verlander back into the mix, having now 6 starters allows the Astros, allows Dusty to manage JP France's innings. And you saw when, I believe it was when they were playing the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, they a couple of weekends, or maybe, 2 weekends ago, they skipped his start, put him in the bullpen, what they're doing this week with Hunter Brown, just to kind of manage his innings. And then you saw just how effective France was in his start against the Angels over the weekend. So, he to me looks like a guy that the moment's not going to be too big for him. I just think he has a really good presence on the mound. I like his moxie. He's going to have to pitch some big innings, either down the stretch or in the playoffs or both, whether it's as a starter or a bullpen or whatever. He's going to have to get some big outs at some point if the Astros are going to ultimately get where they want to get.
I hear you, man. And I want to talk to you more about, the Astros repeating or where you see them between now and the postseason. Before we do that, I want to talk to the people about FanDuel. FanDuel is basically the football season is getting started and kickoff is here. So FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long, because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. So you just pick a team to win the Super Bowl. Now, if you pick the Texans, that might be a little homer-ish, but hey, if they get 4 wins, you get bonus bets every time they win. So, there is a silver lining. Maybe you go with the Rams, maybe you go with the Jets because they've got Aaron Rodgers. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Bills will finally get it done, or the Chiefs are, I guess, everybody's favorite. Maybe Derek Carr will do something in New Orleans. Look, I'm just saying, your favorite team can win. And if they win and you choose them to win the Super Bowl, you get bonus bets. So why not bet on your team? You can use bonus bets on spreads, player props, over and unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Take time to visit FanDuel and check it out. And just know that if you want to hang out where the guys at Locked On Astros hang out to watch the Astros dominate the competition and hopefully hit more consistently, why don't you do this? Why don't you go to Hooters? Why? Because Hooters makes you happy. Every week, Monday through Friday, they have specials. If you are listening to this on Tuesday is $9.99 burgers and fries. Go get some. Wednesday, buy one, get one wings. Thursday, $19.99 wings and Big Daddy bundle. And Friday, $19.83 crab legs. Also, if you are doing a fantasy league and a fantasy league draft, Go to your local Hooters and tell them you want to have a fantasy draft party at their restaurant. It doesn't matter if you're in Galveston. It doesn't matter if you're in Seabrook, Nassau, Pearland, Sugarland, Katy, Humble. Wherever you go in Houston, there is a Hooters, and they are there to make you happy. $3 Blue Moon drafts all the time, $9.99 Michelob Ultra pitchers. So why don't you take our advice and go hang out? Great wings, great brews. Why? Because Hooters makes you happy. And I've got to tell you that the Astros do play the Marlins again, whether they win or lose today at 5:40 Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros. So, Robert, I'm not getting the homerish hometown Htown vibe from you about the Astros, because I hear you distinctly saying, okay, look, here is what is before you.
Yeah.
This is the table that's set. And, you can't look, you can have a good steak dinner and have leftovers, but the leftovers aren't as good as the original meal. I think, though, if the Astros do get into the playoffs, that they can let their experience and look, for all intents and purposes, and all the talk that we have about Dusty and his lineups and all this stuff, last year in the postseason, he ran a master class. Last year in the postseason, he put the right pitchers in at the right time. He put the right lineups together, and that's really part of the domination. A lot of people don't. They kind of forget that. What do you think? Do you think they can repeat?
They certainly can. They certainly can.
What will it take if they do?
They're going to have to get better offensively. They're going to have to get better production from certain pieces of their bullpen. And they're going to have to play exceptional defense. When I look at the American League, I would put the Rangers, the Astros, the Orioles, and the Mariners as my top 4 teams right now. When I look at the National League, the Braves are far and away the best team in baseball, and it's not close. They're better than the Dodgers. Does that mean that's going to stay that way? We still got a lot of baseball to play. We're only in mid-August. But right now, they are the best. I was watching earlier before I came on here. They're playing the Yankees. They're destroying the Yankees. They're taking them apart. They've got the bases loaded. They've already got 8 runs, and they're looking for more in the bottom of the 3rd. So right now, the Atlanta Braves are the best team in baseball, and it's not close. The Astros did go in Atlanta and sweep them. So, the Astros have shown they're capable. But, listen, as I said, it's mid-August. Guys can get hot. Guys can go in slumps. There's injuries that can happen. So there's still a lot of baseball and a lot of questions that need to be answered. But I look at the National League, it's the Braves, it's the Dodgers, and it's the Phillies for me. And for a dark horse pick, the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's my top 4 in the American League, my top 4 in the National League. If I was a betting man, which of course I'm not, I would put my money on the Atlanta Braves winning.
Oh yeah, they look like an unstoppable force right now. As we're talking, Jose Altuve doubled and Jeremy Pena scored. They've cut the lead in half. They've chip away at the lead. One of the things they have done this year is they have done a decent job of scoring runs late, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. There really is no give up. I do like in the clubhouse that there never seems to be any panic, though, to be quite honest. And I think that sometimes bothers some fans. I was reminded of this. You remember when the movie Fever Pitch came out with Jimmy Fallon, Drew Barrymore, about the ultimate fanboy kind of fan. And I remember, I believe it was after one of the losses to the Yankees in the playoffs, they saw Johnny Damon, Jason Varitek, and one of the other Red Sox eating at a restaurant, enjoying their meal. And so Jimmy Fallon and his buddies see him. He's like, look at those guys. They're over there. How can they enjoy their food? They just lost, you know? And that's how fans think. Like, we think that the players should be so overly concerned and beat themselves down. And maybe not everybody thinks that, but I think we have this unrealistic expectation. But this team, I think, is seasoned. They're veteran enough. They have the leadership. if you get Altuve, look, Pena's started heating up lately. I mean, he's 2 for 3 today in the game. He's hitting more. McCormick is still hitting. If you can get these small pieces producing on a consistent basis, I think you can run them up against anybody.
Absolutely.
It would be,
look at what the Philadelphia Phillies did
right
out of the wild card last year. So it all you have to do with today's format is just get in. I like to say, get in, get hot, and get going.
That's right.
With the would it help the Astros to win the division? Immensely. But if that doesn't happen, then I still think that they can get a run into the postseason. Here's a good question from Adley: will King Tuck get his deal done?
I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
Dana Brown said last week seemed to be very enthusiastic about that possibility. The Astros cost themselves probably several millions of dollars by not getting a deal done in the spring, because I'm here to tell you, Kyle Tucker's new deal, it's going to start in the twos. It's starting in the twos. Maybe prior to this season, it would start in the ones. I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, have a feeling that the Astros were using the Yordan Alvarez deal as some sort of framework. Kyle Tucker is going to get paid more than Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez is one of the most feared hitters in all of baseball. But with all due respect, he doesn't play defense like Kyle Tucker, and he doesn't run the bases like Kyle Tucker, and he hasn't been as healthy as Kyle Tucker. So I don't think that you can use that framework any longer.
Yeah, I hear you. I have, and I don't think it'll take a 10-year deal. I think it'll take about a 7 or 8 year deal. I think about 260, you give him about 37 per year. I think we'll get it done. And just to wrap this up and tell me whether you agree with me on this, because this has been my take all along. You let Springer walk. You let Correa walk. You let Cole walk. You let all these guys walk.
Yeah.
If there's one guy that is due a big contract, Kyle Tucker is the guy that you've got to get that deal done. Agree or disagree?
No, I agree with you. Now, in the Astros' offense, 3 of those players that you mentioned, 2 of them, have they really had the kind of immense impact with their new teams? I would suggest no.
The fall off has been a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, did the Astros miss George Springer? In the post, when did Springer leave in 2021? Yeah. So no, they didn't really miss him. And Chas McCormick, it looks like he's settled in nicely. And you want to throw Jake Myers in there as kind of a two-headed monster. Carlos Correa really has yet to find, his dominant presence there in Minnesota. He's shown flashes, but look at what Jeremy Pena did. Now Garrett Cole on the other hand, that's the one for me that if you still had Garrett Cole, man, that's something. But Garrett Cole didn't want to play here. Didn't want to play in Houston. He always wanted to go to New York. And
he was in New York.
That's just the way it is. But you're right. The Kyle Tucker one, if you find a way to ink Kyle Tucker, then this run has a chance to go a little bit longer. If you don't, then I think you're starting to really wonder how much longer is the window going to be open.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And, there's also, I will put a final bow on this. And this is what I keep trying to tell people is technically the Astros don't really have to do anything for the next 2 years because they have a controllable asset at a extreme discount. So business wise, it infuriates the fans, but it makes sense to not pay the man.
Well, and I think you got to consider that Framber Valdez needs a new contract too.
Exactly.
So it's Dana Brown and Jim Crane. They have some decisions to make. I know they want to stay below the luxury tax, and I understand that. So what are you going to do with Altuve? What are you going to do with Bregman?
Because he's 4 hits away from 2,000 right now. I mean, he got 3 hits tonight. So he's 4 away from 2000, I believe.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
So all right. Well, hey, Robert, thank you so much for joining
You
me
got it.
on the show. Our fans, I know they look forward to you coming on because, I mean, it is a big deal to get you on, not only
No, thanks.
because
I
of who
appreciate
you
that.
are, and what you do on MLB Network, but man, you're one of us. Like, you make us Houston people feel significant because,
Yeah.
dude, it's a tough world out there to be an
Yeah.
Astros fan, and you hold the fort down. Still, one of my favorite I guess narrated segments was what you did at the end of the 2022 season.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is something that I've probably watched 100 times. You did a
Well,
phenomenal
yeah. I
job.
mean, just, if people haven't seen it, they can just search, maybe just search my name or Astros and, they can find the essay. We all,
You know
have
what?
made
I'll
it.
link it. I'll
Yeah,
put a link on my Twitter page, and
you got it.
I'll just let people reminisce. But again, tell the people where they can find you, where they can watch you, and maybe where they can watch you play some MLB The Show.
Yeah, find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/real RoFlo. And then, of course, MLB Central on MLB Network Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Houston time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all make sure that y'all give him a follow on X or Twitter or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you
no,
very much.
RoFlo is not choked up. RoFlo
Now
is
my voice has just been, I've been
RoFlo is
battling
vibing
losing
right
my
now.
voice for the last month. So, but thanks everyone for the nice comments. I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the game, and I'll see you around the corner.
Definitely. Thank you guys. Appreciate you, RoFlo. Y'all have a
You
good
got
one.
it.
This has been another great show for Locked On Astros. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. He's Robert Flores. And this is for all of us at Locked On Astros. Thank you for making us your team every day and becoming an everydayer. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out RoFlo in the morning. He's going to have some great things to say no matter what happens. Y'all have a good one. And as always, go Stros. Great show, Robert. Thank you.
Thank you, my man. Have a good one.